All right, Shalom. All praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Quadash. Double honor to the elders, the apostles, and bishops of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Okay. Like you see here, I have a video pulled up from the brother Arrows of Indignation, 144. I believe the brother's name is Obadiah. Okay, so brother Obadiah. If I'm mistaken, please correct me, brother. But I believe that's his name. He put up this video. Oh, Donald, boy, been very busy. Allegedly, these Edomites are vile creatures, and that's exactly it. So we're gonna let this play. And this is that shameful spewing. All right, and we're gonna grab that scripture too. Lord's will. All right. So the Lord is getting ready to get us the hell up out of here. All right, and before he does that, he's gonna expose Esau's wickedness. All right, matter of fact, we just get this and then we can let the video play. Isaiah 47:3, it says, "Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man." So talking to who? Esau. All right, the shame and nakedness, all right, is being revealed to the world, meaning what? The wickedness that this man is doing, all right? Particularly, here in Babylon the Great, but also just all these Edomites in general, these top, officials within the organization, if you want to call it that, of, government, okay, which they are, puppets for the elite. The elite are doing some crazy wicked stuff involving children. You understand? This is just like the tip of the iceberg. Okay. And that's all coming out. Okay. That this man is the devil. All right. The Apostle Paul, he prophesied, then shall that wicked be revealed. Okay. Maybe we can get that too. All right. But the shame and nakedness is of these devils. Okay. Is being revealed. Let's actually start at the first verse. Isaiah 47:1, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon." This is talking about what? America, Babylon the Great. Okay. "Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate." Right. If you have, a woman who's a virgin, she's what? She's tender, she's delicate, she's pure, she's undefiled, right? And what is the situation with America concerning, major wars? It's really never been invaded, right? So America is that virgin daughter of Babylon, okay? But she shall no more be called tender and delicate. Why? Because this place is going to get destroyed with nuclear missiles, okay? But before that happens, the shame and nakedness of these devils, okay, is going to be revealed, okay? Especially what they're doing here in Babylon the Great, concerning this government, all the children that go missing, the history of slavery, okay, the ways that they're poisoning us with the food and the fluoride in the water and all the crazy stuff they put in the air with the chemtrails, all right? So that's all being revealed via the internet, okay? And actually, yeah, let's get that in 2 Thessalonians, I believe, 2. Right, beautiful. 2 Thessalonians 2:5. "Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things?" NLT, "Don't you remember that I told you about all this when I was with you?" Back in the KJV. "And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way." The mystery of iniquity is, who is the wicked, which is these Edomites, okay, the so-called white man, all right? "And then shall that wicked be revealed." Okay, it's coming out that the so-called white man is the devil, which, the other heathens, they already knew that. Or the heathens, they really kind of knew that, the so-called Arabs, the so-called Chinese, they'll tell you, it's been like this for a long time. They'll tell you, oh yeah, blonde hair, blue eye, devil, the white man's the devil, all right? But Jake has such Stockholm syndrome, that he bucks up against it, all right? 2 Thessalonians 2:8, and Salakia for rambling, it says, And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, which is the prophets, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Right, when the Lord comes back in the chariots of heaven, or the clouds of heaven, the chariots, so-called UFOs, all right, shooting laser beams, all right, and that's also going to be when the missiles fly, all right, and destroy this place, okay? So anyways, let's jump back to the video and let's let this play.
That they were. Here's another one that's really interesting is the Calendar Girls situation. Another caller who the feds say did not leave contact info claimed that Trump had parties at Mar-a-Lago called Calendar Girls, where Epstein would bring children and Trump would auction them off. The caller claimed Trump measured the girls' private areas, you can see that there, by penetrating them with his finger and rating them based on tightness. The caller alleged the party guests, including Elon Trump, Ivanka, Eric Trump, Alan Dershowitz, there's his name again, and Bob Shapiro. The caller claimed she and others were taken into rooms and forced to give oral to Trump. She alleged they were forced to allow them to penetrate them. She claimed she was 13 when Trump assaulted her and that Ghislaine Maxwell was present. And we all know Ghislaine Maxwell has been trying to find a way to lessen her sentence. So let's go on to some of these other screenshots here. Midas Touch, a bunch of people are sharing them. Thank goodness they were able to get these screenshots at that time. I just want to show you so you can see it yourself from the files. Here's the story about the Calendar Girls. Donald Trump, the president, had parties at Mar-a-Lago called Calendar Girls. Jeffrey Epstein would bring them in. Trump would auction them, allegedly. And we read this part here about, we don't need to read that again. I just want to show you the actual, where these files exist. You can also see here's the one about the 16 years old. At 16, while modeling, caller attended 8 parties at Epstein's New York residence. On one occasion, the caller reported she was assaulted by Epstein. On another occasion, 2 twin brothers, Alan and Orrin, lured the caller and her friend upstairs, but they escaped back downstairs. Caller said that Orrin assaulted her best friend, and a third brother, Tall, assaulted a 14-year-old girl named Blank. The caller named other individuals involved in big orgy parties with her and other young girls, Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. You see the second column here, it says notable names, so they list the names here. We talked about the Rancho Palos Verdes one. That's the one they said they weren't sure about. And here's another one. Complainant claims to have video of high-profile sex party dealing with cartels, having witnessed Robin Leach strangle a young girl to death at a party.
Oh yeah, and Salakia, just a real quick point about the cartels. I've heard evidence that the small hats, Amalek, the fake Jews, okay, are really running the cartels, and I really wouldn't be surprised. All right, just a side note, Salakia, let the video play again.
So again, allegedly, Robin Leach, the guy who hosts the lifestyles of the rich and famous. So again, we're starting to see some similarities with what we heard from that alleged audio from Sasha, who was a boy at that point in time that said he was also trafficked in this ring. It gets crazier. Let's go on more. I am so sorry it's so tiny, you guys, and it doesn't let me make it bigger because it's on Twitter, but I'm going to do the best that I can here. Just coming right about here. Here's the one about Texas. Complainant reported his ex-girlfriend Blank were victims of Epstein and one was murdered. There's another one that says someone was murdered. While working as a limousine driver, the complainant recalled picking up Donald Trump in 1995 to take him to Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. During that ride, the complainant recalled some of the things Trump spoke about on his cell phone were very concerning and described being a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median. It's the lane in between lanes on the road, and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying. The complainant noted Trump repeatedly stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone. One of the complainant's ex-girlfriends, named Blank, told the complainant Trump assaulted her, as did Epstein. This is the part about Lisa Marie Presley, which we got into that part. Let's get to this one here. Complainant following up after a call with NYPD officer regarding her previous tip, reporting that she was forced to perform sex acts when she was 13 years old and pregnant in 1984. Complainant also reported there were high-profile individuals involved in sex trafficking and the murder and disposal of her newborn daughter. This is one of the ones I told you guys about before. Complainant reported Donald Trump participated regularly in paying money to force her to perform sex acts with him, and alleged Trump was present when her uncle murdered her newborn child. So we know about that story as well. Here's another one. Caller was taken by boat to Epstein's Island. Caller said it was complicated and involved Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. She said, it says the caller became a school counselor and had a meeting with the school principal, Linda Kitts, and the police officer, where the caller was informed there were pictures of herself with Epstein. The caller reported the school was mad at her for not being a Trump person and that the school wanted her to testify and say things against Andrew Cuomo. The FBI and Donald Trump were on the phone during the meeting. The caller believes the FBI has baby pictures of her with Epstein. So all these names that are being mentioned, Andrew Cuomo, right? And here you see the school was basically wanting her to protect Donald Trump. They wanted to protect him. You see how they cover for the wealthy and the powerful? Here's another one. Caller reported that in 1987, a friend, victim 1, was out drinking and ended up at Trump Plaza. Victim 1 saw Donald Trump and wanted to meet him. An unknown approached her and offered to introduce her to Trump. The unknown man gave victim 1 a drink, and victim 1 woke up naked and sore with $300 on the bed. Victim 1 didn't remember how she got to the room. She remembered seeing a flash of Trump's face. Victim 1 called the caller and told her she thought that she had been assaulted. Victim 1 did not go to a hospital to have a kit performed because she didn't think anyone would believe her, especially because she was drunk. And this is also not uncommon. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. Let's go on here. Victim 1, husband's business had problems with suppliers, and victim 1 believed Trump was behind it. Victim 1 also started dating a lawyer, identifier unknown, who was married. Victim 1 had a fight with her lawyer boyfriend and went to a bar. Victim 1 left a bar with a man who no one in the bar recognized, but who seemed familiar with the victim. Victim 1 was never seen again. A few years ago, remains were discovered that matched the description of what victim 1 was wearing when she went missing. DNA tests at the time were inconclusive. It's getting really bad. It's not just Trump that's named. There's something. Love how MAGA is pretending Bill Gates and.
All right. Yes, there you go. I'm gonna cut it off right there because I got kind of a limited amount of time and I want to grab a couple scriptures. You get it. Very foul stuff. Very demonic. All right. Very sickening. Okay. It boils your blood. To hear shit like that. Excuse my whatever. Excuse my French, I guess, but, this is a good thing for us because we are witnessing the fall of our enemies. Okay. Nobody wants to be an Edomite in these days, Esau's own women don't even want him anymore. All right. They want Jake, which they've been wanting Jake. That's how you have so many, so many Edomite looking Jakes, because the Edomite woman been feeling on Jake for a long time, but anyways, let's see. Was that? Yep. Downfall of. How do you word that? How's that worded? Joy of his children. Let's get this scripture. All right, because we are witnessing the fall of our enemies. Sirach 25:7. There be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart, my mind to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. And we are seeing our enemies get fully exposed for all their wickedness. All right. And, the brethren, the servants, the prophets are doing a great portion of that, But then also, like the scripture says, they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All right. Fall. Because a lot of these whistleblowers are Edomites. All right. Not all of them, of course, but some of them are, you know. So you also have this coming into play. This is Psalm 64 and 8. So shall they make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away, right? So you have Edomites, you know, whistleblowing, all right, about these, about these situations, you know, and bringing more shameful spewing like we're about to get right here. This is Habakkuk 2 and 12. Woe, destruction to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establisheth a city by iniquity. Right? You could easily apply that to America, right? You know, this place is built with blood, all right? Slavery, okay? Slaughtering, you know, the tribe of Gad and Reuben, tribes of Gad and Reuben, all right? And the city established by iniquity, right? This is a place full of iniquity. You know, you can just be a moe, you can commit adultery, you know, you can cheat, lie, steal, all right? Eat all types of abominations, all right? Verse 13, behold, it is not of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of hosts that the people should labor in the very fire, or shall labor in the very fire, and the people shall weary themselves for very vanity. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, as the waters cover the sea, and that's in the kingdom, you know. There's not going to be any more confusion about, you know, what is the correct religion, and, you know, what's the right philosophy, and who has the truth. The Hebrew Israelites of Great Millstone had the truth before the Lord came back, and now that truth is fully established, now that the Lord Yahushai is here. You know, that's what it's going to be like in the kingdom, all right? Verse 15, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. Now, this is not talking about literally this, even though that does describe what these devils have done to some of these, you know, young girls, right? This is talking about, you know, the drink being what? Philosophy, okay? Wickedness, all right? You know, like the scripture says about Babylon, America, all right, that it's been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, and the nations of the earth are drunk with it, right? So that goes into that philosophy. You know, Esau has pushed wicked philosophy, all right, upon Jake. You know, a good example is gangster music, all right? That bullshit, you know, degenerate, shoot 'em up, you know, I'm a thug, I'm a killer, you look at me wrong, I'm gonna blow your brains out. That music, all right? That came from Esau. Esau invented that, and then Jake ran with it, all right? Look up the backstory behind NWA, all right? They were the first ones to do the gangster rap thing, all right? And who was behind it? A small hat, okay? Leor Cohen, all right? A complete small hat Amalekite devil, all right? He was the one that pushed, you know, making it cool to be a gangbanger and, you know, to kill your own people, all right? And then the small hats took that and they expanded it, and now Jake wants to, you know, to do that, all right? Before, hip hop was talking about, you know, life and, you know, things that people go through, you know, hardships that Jake had to deal with in America, you know. And then it turned into, you know, you look at me wrong, I'm gonna shoot you, and, you know, I'm a F your bitch, and, you know, so that's that that bottle, okay? That's an example of it, right? That Esau has put to his neighbor Jake, all right? But it also goes into all the you know, philosophy and stuff that Esau pushes, okay? Being a moe, you know, feminism, all that, okay? And makest him drunken also, you know, that thou mayest look on their nakedness, right? You know, our people are drunken with the philosophies of Babylon the Great, all right? Verse 16, this is the point. Thou art filled with shame for glory, okay? Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory, okay? So the Most High is exposing these devils, all right? Let thy foreskin be uncovered. It doesn't mean we're, you know, anybody's going to pull their rod out, okay? It's not that. It means, you know, pause, you know, but it just means they're going to be exposed for their wickedness, all right? So, let's see. Shameful spewing shall be upon thy glory, right? All right? This is that shameful spewing, okay? They're them being exposed for all the wickedness that they do, all right? In the NLT, it says, but soon it will be your turn to be disgraced, Okay, and now Esau is being disgraced. Okay, come, drink, and be exposed. Okay, drink from the cup of the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai's judgment. Okay, and all your glory will be turned into shame, or will be turned to shame, right? So America used to be, the glorious, wonderful nation, right? Like, everybody wants to come here, everybody wants a piece of the pie. Now it's this shameful mess, where the whole government is being exposed as these demonic sexual deviants. Okay, everybody, knows about all the horrors. Well, not all of them, because it's like, you always learn something new that this devil, okay, did. The whole world knows about, how Gad and Reuben, were completely massacred by this devil. Okay, the so-called North American Indians and so-called Seminole Indians. All right. And they know everything not everything, but they know a lot. The whole world knows a lot of wickedness that this devil, Esau, the so-called white man, has done in this country. All right. So his glory has been turned into shame. All right. So, hey, with that, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rekah, Kodash. Double honor to the elders at Great Millstone who taught us this truth. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom.